But we'll get things kicked off. I'd like to say welcome to everybody. It's been a few months since we've last seen each other, but hopefully you all have had a wonderful summer. We're heading into my favorite time of year here in Maine, the fall. So we thought we'd get things kicked off here with our first virtual marketing workshop for the fall. Today we have Diane Reed. As many of you have may remember, Diane spoke to us back at the beginning of the year, and we brought her back for today. I'll give you a quick little summary biography here for Diane before she takes it away. Diane is a nationally recognized speaker, writer, and communications professional who currently serves as president of CU Doctor. Previously, Diane served for more than a decade as vice president of administration for a mid-sized credit union. Her expertise in service-oriented culture change has been cited in such publications as Credit Union Times, Credit Union Management, and a host of other industry magazines. Her unique management style and inventive programming earned her top team spots on 2020, a visit from the Treasurer of the United States, and an invitation to the White House. And did you take them up on that invitation, Diane?
I had one of my staff members go instead,
Okay.
but yeah, so we took them up, but I didn't go personally. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, with all that said, I will let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks for having me, guys. Really look forward to this event. Had a great time with you guys in, I guess it was February last I saw you. And today we're talking about personalization. I've got a lot of information that kind of goes all over the board, so feel free to hop into the chat at any time if you have a question or if you want to peruse or go into a more specifics in any of the areas that are covered. But the concept behind this, and when I talked to Mike about this way back when in putting it together, he feels a lot of us in marketing have a tendency to stick with the same stuff product-wise that we've always done and think that there's some kind of weird finite positioning of products within credit unions, and that we have to kind of stick to the barriers that have always been. And it's really difficult to kind of break out of the box where we're talking about product design and product personalization, because that's the way that a lot of folks want to be moving this way on the consumer side, particularly when we're talking about millennials and then Zs and so on. They're looking for that experience on computers and computer, phone, etc., that is different from the experience that us Xers and then before as the boomers had and even thought about. They've been raised on computers, everything they've ever done, their schoolwork, everything. And so they expect it to be quicker, faster, more personalized, more specific to their wants and needs. And so as marketers, we really need to think about that and put that into practice when we're developing kind of everything that we do. So that's the concept behind today's presentation that I have for you. And we're talking about personalization and product design from that personalized marketing perspective. That says my agenda for today is that we're going to talk about what is personalized marketing, what we mean, why it's important, the tools we need to make it successful. And my guess is some of your shops currently have those tools or some of the tools, and some of them you might not have yet. And it might be things you need to start thinking about planning for in the future and getting into your budgeting process, as many of you are sitting or getting ready for the budgeting process for next year at this time. So it's a good time for it when you start thinking about what you want to be doing when you're developing your marketing plan and your budgets, etc., for the future. Then we're going to talk about types of personalized marketing. We're going to look at a lot of case studies, and quite frankly, it's a lot of neobanks and a lot of those kind of places that are getting this right now. And so we need to kind of see what they're doing and figure out what we can do to kind of take those thoughts and then morph them into credit union land, if you will. I'm going to talk about some of the challenges because you face them, and we're going to have to sell and against some of those objections that you might come from the powers that be, particularly your boards, because let's face it, most of your boards are not made of millennials or Zs. They're made up of some folks who really don't even understand the whole concept of this personalized marketing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how you can sell those ideas to the folks that need to approve them, because they need to approve those budgets to do some of the things that you want to do. Oops. Okay, I'm going too fast. There we go. So personalized banking is that strategy we use to target individuals with a message that meets their particular needs, okay, and their buying behaviors. And so let's think that when we hear that, we're going, analytics, that should be coming to your mind, data analytics. And if you're not using your data analytics now, you really need to be thinking about that. Most of us for decades have been collecting information on our members. Okay, we have that through all kinds of different tools that we have. But most of us don't do anything with that data. We have the data and we go, okay, there it is. And we don't do anything with it. Personalized banking is going to force us to use that data. And when done correctly, personalized banking is going to make your members feel like that message that they're getting from you was made just for them. Okay, it's not a, flow it out by a fan and see what sticks. So elements that we're used usually within this realm are customized financial products, okay, that are designed specifically for that individual. And when I talk about customized financial products, let me put it this way. Think about this. Okay, so we have an auto loan, right? Everybody has an auto loan. Everybody probably has pretty much the same darn auto loan. Okay, it's a new, it's a used, it's 6 month, 12 month, 24, 36, 50, 60 month auto loan, right? Because that's how we do auto loans. Let's go back to our member now and think, what does that member want? What is the member thinking about when they want an auto loan? They want the car, right? They want the car they want. And what is it that they're looking for in the loan? The ability to pay for that car. What is it they're looking at personally? They're looking at how much can I afford to pay every month? Okay, so they're looking at that monthly payment. They're not looking at 12 months, 36 months, 48 months, 60 months. They could care less about the term. They're looking for how much money they're spending. So instead of us fixing them into a product that already exists, why don't we have a loan that says, okay, I want this particular car and I want to pay $500 a month for it. And whatever that happens to be. Okay, if that's 48 months, if that's 62 months, if that's 33 months, what difference does it make, right? So we don't squeeze them in. We make that product design to their needs. And their need is that they're paying $500 a month. Okay, so whatever that comes out to be. So we're starting to look at customizing our product to what they want, as opposed to fitting them into that prescribed product that already exists. Talk about some other examples there, but that's what we're talking about when we're talking about something like customized financial products. We're also talking about tailored communications. A lot of credit unions have gotten a lot better at this recently, where they're making an offer based on what we know about that existing member. And this avoids things like what we used to do in the old days, and probably some of you still are doing now, because a lot of places are. We are having an auto loan promotion this month, right? And we're going to give you X, Y, or Z if you get an auto loan with us, a special rate, a discount, money off, no prepayment, whatever it is, okay? And we look at our membership and we throw it out there, okay? I'm at home. I'm Joe member, okay? And I'm sitting at home and I receive a postcard, an email, whatever else, however you're advertising. And it comes to me and it says, here, get an auto loan with us. I got one yesterday. You just wasted that on me. And I'm sitting there going, you don't know me at all. And I'm kind of irritated that you're spending my money as a credit union member, putting out this postcard for something that I already have. Okay. So this is tailoring communication so that when we're looking now at having that promotion, we're looking at somebody who might have a 3-year-old auto loan or a 4-year-old auto loan. So we know they're in the market now. So we're tailoring it to somebody who would fit the profile of somebody who's looking for that particular product at this particular time. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about tailored communication. Proactive service. We know this is anticipating a need. We know that if you have just purchased a house and you have just graduated from college or you've just done whatever, that you next probably will need a credit card, or you might need a home equity loan or whatever it is, because it's your cycle. Okay. And we're going to reach out to you as we know what cycle you're in and be proactive and start meeting your needs as you get to that point. And then enhanced support, using artificial intelligence to provide personalized assisted learning and such. If we know this might be where we're reaching out to somebody even in a collection cycle, okay, we know that they're looking like they're getting ready to go over the edge. We know that they're starting not to meet their needs all the time on their bills. So maybe we're reaching out to this person on some education about how to budget. We might be reaching out to them before they go negative with us to try to get them to pay with us, and they don't have to pay somebody else. Maybe they're not paying another lender that they're with. Okay. But we're being proactive in that process, and we're providing them with support and education that might help them. Maybe it's that we're sending an email because we know their balance is getting really, really low in their checking account. And so we're going to give them a warning bell that, when you get down to the last $100, when you get to the last $50, whatever it is, that they can set a warning bell where we send them an email, we send them a text, we send them some kind of communication that says, ding, 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 did you know that your balance is this? And so do you want to make a deposit? Something of that nature. That's what we're talking about there. So why do we do it? The number one reason is relevance. Okay. It's the difference between your members thinking that you're just throwing it out there again, seeing what sticks, and talking specifically to them. And it's estimated, as I put here, that the average person is going to have 1,700 advertisements each month. And you've got to have something that's going to cut through the noise so that they listen to you above everybody else. We also do it because of demand. 71% of consumers say that they expect companies to deliver that personalized interaction. And 76% say they get frustrated when that doesn't happen. And what do they do when they get frustrated? They look for somebody who's going to meet their needs. Again, in a recent survey of 7,000 global participants by the Financial Consultancies Index, 72% said that personalization is highly important, and 77% of banking leaders said it leads to increased customer retention. So why are we doing it? Demand. Our consumers are demanding that we start personalizing so that they're not having to read all this crud that comes into their emails or their text or their mailbox or wherever it is that they're listening to us. Third reason, millennials. Okay, again, more studies that show millennials are really looking for this kind of a relationship. Plus, here's some other facts for you. 56% more likely to grow their relationship with their PFI over the next 12 months than Generation X and baby boomers. Why? They're in that growth mode. That's the cycle of life that they're in. So do we want these guys? Yes. And why do we want them to? Because they are borrowers. These are the guys who are going to be, we're lending to. Where do we make our money as a credit union? We make it in making loans. Okay. So we want these guys. It's very important. It's important for the health of our organization now because of the lending, and in the future. If you don't get younger members, what happens to all members over time? Yeah, they die, right? Okay. So we need to make sure that we're really working on these younger members, particularly the millennials, because those are the ones that are really in the buying arena at this time. 55% wish their financial provider offered a more personalized digital banking experience. Again, they're looking for it. So the benefits, I'm sure you're already seeing the benefits. Probably already know these. We're not going to spend a lot of time going over the benefits, but you get that better connection with members. Okay. Again, I give you some statistics here. According to Adobe, 73% of customers say they'd rather do business with brands who personalize their emails. Okay. Think about it yourself. Just think about what you get all the time. You get that 700 advertising messages a month. Which ones do you look at? You're more liable to look at one that looks like it's actually meeting your needs. It's meeting you where you are. It's been personalized. boosting revenue, improving, targeting. Again, you're not wasting money. Instead of throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks, we are able to pinpoint. So we're getting a much higher ROI for each advertisement that we're putting out there. It gives us stronger brand reputation. It enhances that lead generation and member retargeting, knows who we need to go back to try to get those sales, and then more effective retargeting as well. It makes a more satisfying member experience, increases the loyalty. Okay, members want that content, and if you give it to them, they're going to be more inclined to come to you when they're reaching out with a need. Greater return, I already talked about that ROI, and companies generate 40% more revenue from personalization, and added consistency across the channels. It's nice when we are able to integrate all of the different channels of marketing that we have. I found when I was in-house, the most effective campaigns were ones that I had across every single channel. In fact, every campaign that I would do in marketing, I would have buttons for my tellers to wear. I would have signage at the teller line. I would have signage at the drive-through. I would have messages on every communication that went to them in the mail or statements, etc. I would have messaging that would be sent to them on postcards or whatever else I was sending out in the newsletter. It would certainly be on the website. It would be on the landing pages and websites. I would have it every single place that we had any kind of branding or messaging, so that it was consistent across all channels. You guys know, somebody receives one marketing message, that's not usually where the buy is going to come from, right? They have to see that message over 7 more times for them usually to make the purchase. So what tools do we have? I mentioned this one from the very get-go: data analytics, data management. Again, we don't just need to have the data, we have to use the data, and that's where the data management comes in. It also comes in where we start talking about silos. And in your credit union, if you haven't experienced this, good for you and good for your credit union, but I bet most of you have. You got silos. And so, this department has certain information, and another department, marketing, has some information, and lending has some information, and collections has some information, and, card services has some information, and your call center has information. But unless you integrate it and you properly manage it, then it's not related information, and you can't gather the most information that you have. If you know that in one place you have information that the person has purchased X, Y, and Z products, another place you have information that says they've called inquiring about a particular product, and you don't have those two talk to each other, then when marketing goes to try to design a product or a program that is personalized, we're missing key bits of information. So we want to make sure that we're able to integrate a lot of that information. And some of us use the customer relationship management system to do that. If you don't have a CRM these days, you're way behind the times, and that needs to be something that you probably are putting into your budgeting process. If you have one, make sure you are fully utilizing it, because many of us have all these bells and whistles in our CRMs, but we haven't turned them on. We're not using them. We're not really taking advantage of that tool that we have. We have post-click landing pages. I'd love to see, in the chat, how many of you guys are using this tool. It's one that's been around for a very long time, but I haven't seen as many credit unions use it as I've seen in other businesses. So a post-click landing page is going to be someplace you're sending somebody after they're showing interest in a particular campaign. It might be a link that's on your website. It might be a link that's coming through on a text message that you're sending out. But it's going to be a landing page where you send them on their computer or their phone, that's going to give them more specific information about that product or service that you're trying to sell at that point in time. Why is this important? Because it shows that next level of engagement with your member, so that not only do you know that they're you have this information out there, but they're interested. They took the time to click next and find out more about it, which is showing a higher level of interest that we want to capitalize on. If they don't purchase the product now, we'll still know they have interest and we can use that for a future campaign, or we will know some information about them now. We can gather more information about them. We will know where they clicked into the landing page from. Did they come from a billboard? Did they come from a bus back? Did they come from a text message? Did they find us on a postcard that we sent or something else? So we'll know what channel they're using to get us, which tells us that information so that we know now how we can best reach this member in the future, right? So that's why we have some of these techniques and things like post-click landing pages. It can give us information. We can even use those sometimes when we want to do A/B splits. For any of you who don't use A/B splits now, you're going to send an advertisement or other information out, but you might put it out two different ways. Okay. You might have two different graphics. You might have two different, verbiage attached to the advertisement, or you might have two different channels where you can check to see which one is most effective with your members. Was there a question? Okay. All right. And then last, we have a customer data platform. And again, that's more of an amalgamation of putting all these things together so you have all the various pieces of information at your fingertips. So I asked, how do you make your choices then with so many different channels, so many different ways of advertising, so many different ways of personalizing information, everything from using the member's name to sending out particular information to them, to personalizing the products and services? How do we know where to spend our time and energy and efforts? When asked what their priorities and innovation would be over the next 3 years, customer answers were all over the place. Okay, so we didn't have that clear winner. 90% said this and 10% said that. Instead, we kind of had information coming in all over the place. As I put here, some said delivering a highly personalized experience. So some said they were focusing on offering members such features and enhanced user experience. Okay, so making things quicker, faster, more delivered in the way that they wanted them delivered. Others believe that putting forth less restrictive credit offerings was important to them. Who's right? Where do we go with this information? Here's my suggestion to you. Instead of guessing what they want, ask them. Ask your members. Your members are going to be your biggest source of great information for what they want. Okay. You can ask through surveys, other things. If you haven't done focus groups before, I have always found that those have been a highly, highly effective way to get this information. And I don't want just focus groups of your existing members. I want focus groups of those people who aren't using you. They chose to go someplace else. Find out why, what it is they're missing. What do they like that other people are doing? But do focus groups. You can get that information instead of just guessing what they're looking for. The other big mistake that I sometimes see with organizations trying to figure out what their members want and trying to use data analytics to get there. It's the big difference here of support versus illumination. A long time ago, there was a famous spy, actually, who did a lot of his work, prep work through data analytics. And he said that most organizations are like the drunk guy on the lamppost. Okay, that's what the photo here is for. Drunk guy on the lamppost, who is using that lamppost for support instead of illumination. And a lot of us have a tendency to use our data analytics to support what we already wanted to do, as opposed to learning from the information and getting the illuminated into what the member wants or what they're looking for. So we have to be careful when we start using data that we are looking for illumination and not support for our existing ideas. So where do we go from here? What do we do when we want to move toward a more personalized experience with our members and in our marketing programs? First, we need a team. Okay, we need a team. Why do we need a team? Remember, I talked about those silos before. We have all this information that's out there. We need to make sure that marketing is getting their hands on all that information so that we can amalgamate it, we can put it together and use it for the complete cycle of marketing. Two, we need to choose where we're going to personalize, okay, and how we're going to personalize. Are we going to personalize messages to the individual person, and that's what we're doing? Are we going to personalize the experience, as in make it a quicker, faster, smoother experience in the way that the member wants it? Or do we personalize in some other mechanism where we are very targeted in what we're trying to do? Okay. Step three, we're going to plan how we're going to capture and use data. Okay, so if we're going to be personalizing, we've got to know enough about our member to personalize, which means we're relying on data. Okay, so we need to know how we're going to capture the data that we're going to use. We need to confirm that data. Okay, sometimes we get that data and then we need to make sure that it's accurate. We also need to confirm that it's good data. You know, bad data entry can really fluster any of our attempts. So if we've got bad addresses, if we got bad names, if we've got bad zip codes, if we've got bad numbers that we have for what products and services they're already using with us or that they're using with someone else. So we have to have some way to confirm and make sure that our data is accurate and in the right formats that we need it. Then we need to use that data to segment the audience, to pick out who we are driving and which groups get which campaigns that we're doing, which products and services, etc. Then we're going to develop the campaign components for that. We're going to segment and activate the campaign. And then we're always, like with any other marketing programs we're doing, we're going to always test and refine what we're doing, because it's always going to change. We're going to have some different things that we need to do along the way. So the types of personalization that we see most often, there's prescriptive personalization, which is where we're anticipating that member, what they want, what they need based on historical data. So very data analytics heavy. And we're going to use that method to create rules and workflows that allow us to move more easily and manage our users. A lot of us are using this in, next product predictors or analytics, things like that. We're also going to have real-time personalization. And that's something that relies on real current, right when it's happening data, okay, to personalize the experience. So a lot of times it's going to be an analytic that sits behind. Sometimes it's going to be a very AI driven experience where we're learning from that person as they're filling out an application, as they're clicking on a button, something of that nature. We're going to make them recommendations as they are actively shopping our site. And then there's machine learning personalization. This one, again, very heavily relies on AI. And it's going to use algorithms to make informed decisions about how to reach out to each member based on their particular individual behavior. So it's not necessarily future oriented. It's looking at them in real time now for what they're doing at this point. Like if we see that they're searching for new cars, okay, we know that we might be able to offer them an auto loan at that particular moment in time. Other methods, and we'll go through these a little bit more specifically. So leveraging personalization across all channels. Kind of remember where I talked about putting, things in the teller line, putting things through the drive-through, putting things on your outgoing messages, on your website, on your text messaging, on your video screens, on your billboards, on your television advertisements or radio or however you're advertising. Leveraging all those channels, okay, so that we are able to find where and how that member is coming to us. We could create personalized blog content, okay, so again, that's specific to that member at that moment in time, and then segmenting based on the buying cycle. Radin, a bunch of y'all might be using Radin or one of those organizations that might help you with that. So let's walk through what we talk about when we're leveraging personalization across channels. So here we're showing a billboard. Okay. It's obviously more house for your money. Don't wait. Lock your rate now. And we're putting a uh, site on there, ecu.org/lock and shop. Okay. So we want to use a billboard such as that and direct potential buyers to that landing page. Okay. The landing page is that lock and shop, right? And that's going to be specifically relevant to the people who want to purchase homes in a geographic area that that billboard is located in. We might have several billboards in our marketing area, but we know that each one is in a different township or county or what have you. So we might have a different landing page for each one. So we know exactly which billboard they came to us through. And that information we give them is going to be specific to that particular community. So we're personalizing it and giving them only the information they're looking for, but we're also tracking and gaining information in that process as well. So when we're talking about that blog content, we're going to divide it based on use. Okay. Does that member have our credit card? Okay. Are they looking for home financing? We need to identify which ones are using which products and show them content that aligns with the products they need. So instead of having a just blanket blog, we will send them to a blog that gives them information about credit cards or about home financing or about budgeting or about lending process or about auto loans or about investing, whatever it is that we think they value because they've given us that information. We could also divide based on their interests. Okay. Things like, the average American isn't interested in that flight miles card. However, somebody who travels often, and we might know that from their buying habits that we have purchased or that we have within our databases, then we know what they need. Okay. So we might target to those folks, or we might create different products, some for frequent flyers. Maybe we have another credit card that gives for frequent buyers, or we have one that's just low rate and they use it as a maintenance, right? So we've got to leverage that data to accurately identify who we need to send this particular type of ad to, instead of, again, doing the blanket approach. And then finally, there's that machine learning personalization. This is going to focus on awareness. Okay. The first life cycle, so to speak, of a buyer is that they are aware of it. Okay. So they're looking for more about that particular product. This is where you kind of blanket. Okay. Then, the next part in the cycle is that they're considering the product. Okay. At this point, they're usually looking to see what your competitors are offering. So we want to make sure we're starting to send them more messages here about member testimonials, maybe, or specifics about our product and service that are different from the competitor. Okay. So we're in that part of the sales cycle. The next part is the decision-making point. And that's when the member is ready to make that purchase, right? So they're ready to buy. Okay. And we need to make buying what at this point? Easy. We need to make it as easy as we possibly can. Okay. So we're going to create a sense of urgency, either by giving them the big red shiny button they can push and get it easy, or maybe a special offer at this point that we're going to offer them to kick them over to make that decision and that buying point. The last portion of the cycle then is the assessment of that choice. Okay. So they're looking and saying, okay, I've already made it. We want to make sure that they're not only happy with the product or the service they've purchased, but with us. Okay. This is our chance to really brand ourselves in their minds so that the next time they want any products or service in the financial arena, they think of us first. We're making them happy, satisfied, giving them the extras, impetus to consider us next time. So here's where we might give them some extras. We're going to give them some information. If we know they've just purchased a car and they got their loan from us, maybe we're sending them information on, how to maintain the car the best and the best they can. So we're giving them some secrets on oil changes. Maybe we even have a relationship with, Midas or somebody for oil changes, and we send them a coupon for their first oil change. Okay, this is the kind of thing we're talking about when we're talking assessment of choice. We're talking about the add-ons afterwards, the information continuing that relationship with the member. All right, so how are we doing in this whole personalization deal? You know, in 2023, Filene did a study, and they were talking about particularly innovation and personalization at this point. And so they asked, you know, comparing banks and credit unions and other brands. And then they start talking about people like Chime or Cash App, some of our competitors. And they wanted to see how we're doing. Okay. One good thing was credit unions did a little better than banks. So woohoo, good for you. Okay. Just a little bit better. And then the average though was a 70. We came in at a 69. So we're a little bit better, a little lower than the average brand, but hanging right in there. And then you got into the places like Chime or Cash App, SoFi, some of those neobanks, etc. They're doing a lot better than we are. Okay. And that's why they have really started to shine. So we can learn from that, right? So let's look at some case studies. Here's some of the areas where competitors are doing really well. And we're going to talk about some of these. And I want you to not just look at them and go, oh, I should copy what they're doing, but think about what they're doing and how we could apply that to you or your particular credit union. So the areas we're going to talk about are these: niche products, member-driven, personalization, product design, digital banking neobanks, robo-advisors, mobile payment solutions, fractional investing, peer-to-peer, buy now, pay later, identity verification, etc. So let's take a look. Niche products. Excuse me. So here's a niche product. Okay. And when I talk about niche products, I'm talking about looking at your membership and thinking what their financial needs and wants are. And then we create something particularly for your membership. Okay. It might not fit every other membership. It's specific to yours. Here's an example I give you: Public Safety Officers Benefits Program. And it's a program that provides death and education benefits to survivors of fallen law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, and disability benefits to officers catastrophically injured in the line of duty. Okay. Clearly, okay, this is actually from a credit union. And it's a credit union whose base of membership, clearly, you can probably figure it out pretty quick. It's law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, right? So they looked at their membership and they said, what do they look for? What do they really need that they're not getting right now? How could I give them peace of mind in a financial sense? Well, if you can provide death and education benefits, because they're always worried about, you know, getting killed in the line of duty, right? All right. So that's a big concern for them. By offering these benefits as part of their membership in the credit union, that serves a specific need for a specific membership. It's not one you do for everybody. Everybody's not worried about dying in the office on a regular basis, right? It's just people who are in that first responder or law enforcement type niche. Here's another one. This came about through COVID, and now some of it stayed afterwards, but it's an example for you. We had a special point in time when people were having issues with travel because they would set up for travel and then they would get COVID and you couldn't go. Okay. Because a lot of the airlines, a lot of the places you would be staying, a lot of other travel companies wouldn't let you travel if you had COVID. Okay. So, and you could, you know, test all you wanted. You could take the vaccine if you wanted, but you still might get COVID. And you didn't want to lose the big investment. Most travel, particularly when you're talking about overseas, is pretty expensive. So you didn't want to lose your investment if you got COVID. So there were several companies who immediately came out with that COVID insurance so that you could protect your trip in case you got COVID. Again, a niche product for a niche time. And I just wanted to point this out because sometimes niche products aren't forever products. They're for a particular season and time. Let's think about that, how it might apply with your credit union. Here's another one. Raise your credit score with our Credit Builder Plus membership. Okay. Are you serving a lot of underserved? Are you serving a lot of new or younger members who really need to build that credit? Okay. Who need to have some products that are, I want to say, starter products. Okay. If you do, you might think about what you can do to help with that starter product or that particular membership. So, what's your niche? Okay, what is your niche? What is special about your membership? Either the membership you have now or the membership that you want. Okay, some of us are in areas where we're starting to explore different niches that we haven't had before. Maybe it's an underserved area. Maybe it's a population in your area where it could be that they speak a different language. Okay, so maybe you have a large Hispanic area. Maybe you have a large Portuguese area. Maybe you have large area of some different group of folk who are stifled sometimes by language, by finances, by knowledge, whatever it is. And if you have a particular niche that you either have now or want to have, think about what it is that they need. Okay, it might be that you're offering some real bilingual services that not everybody else is offering. Maybe it's that you're offering some education. Maybe it's you're offering those credit builder products or those new products. If you're trying to go into a group, maybe you're going into universities, okay, and you want to offer somebody the ability to get a loan without a large credit score because they haven't existed long enough to have a great credit score. Okay, maybe you give them that builder loan where you have an automobile, and maybe the first year the rate is 12% or something, and then the second year, if they've paid on time every month, maybe in the second year of the loan you take it to 10%, and then the last year it goes down to 2%, whatever. You can play with it, do what you need to do, but create that niche product for your niche membership. All right, so we also have those neobanks out there. We know that those are big competitors, particularly when we're talking about our millennial and Z members. What is it that they're doing, okay, that has been so successful? Because they are a growing concern. And as you saw where we had Filene rank everybody, they were way above us, okay? So here you see the headline. This is Revolut. Change the way you money. Okay. For those who want more from their money, there's Revolut. Sign up with no fee in a tap. And it's neobanks. Okay. And they're giving our members what they're looking for. And a lot of what they're doing with these apps that are out there are providing a lot of education and a lot of money management tools within their app. So it's going to have budgeting aspects to it. It's going to have, this is where you're spending your money. It's going to have the ability to transfer money elsewhere, to pay others, etc. There's also neobank specialization. They're starting to kind of go into this niche within neobanks. Okay, here's an example. Dave has that credit building concept to it. Okay, and they put their headlines, things like, we've helped 6 million members plus take $97 million in advances. Okay, what they're talking about is something that a lot of credit unions have done for a very long time, particularly ones who are in the education arena. We've for a long time paid our members sometimes before they actually get their paycheck. Okay, so we pay them every Thursday, and if they waited to get paid in an old checks form, they wouldn't get their check till Friday. So they get that early pay. We've been doing that for a long time. We need to kind of capitalize on that. Some of what we've done in credit unions a long time is we don't talk about the cool things that we do, and we really need to use that. Millennials and Z's a lot too also want those organizations who are invested in the community, who are doing good. Well, that's what we're all about, right? So we need to talk about it more when we're talking in our headlines. Let's use that. This also has, things like those roundup purchases, pocket the difference of savings. it's taking the person's money. We're just reformulating what we're doing with it and making it look like we're doing something special. Okay. So see what these guys are doing and see if there's a way you can work that into your membership and what your members want as well. Here's another one. This is traveler friendly. This one is made uh, partnerships around the world so that they can convert different monies, from pounds or from euros or whatever you have when you're traveling. It makes it a lot easier. Does your membership have a large travel contingency or something else that unifies them that makes their abilities to do things more difficult? Because we've put roadblocks in the way because we've got our products working the same way they've always worked. Find out what their pain points are. Some credit unions and some banks, require when somebody travels, you have to call up and make sure that you notify them beforehand and every single time you travel. Well, if you'll travel a lot, you don't want to be on the phone all the time telling somebody that you are going out of the country again. Okay. Can you do that online? Can you do that through an app? Can you do that through a text? Is there some kind of way you can set your algorithms differently for that person so that they don't have to go through hoops every time they want to use your products and services? Here's one's teen friendly. Okay. Again, it's a linked kind of account that is working with parents and youth. Okay. Introducing green light for credit unions. This is one. This is a product that works actually. It's both on the banking and credit union side. Engage the next generation of members, grow your reach with kids and teens. You empower your kids to kind of learn and grow through that neobank specialization. That seems to be something that would make a lot of sense for a lot of credit unions. Okay, so this is through a vendor and through a partnership. A lot of what we do through credit unions are through vendors and partnerships, right? Because we can't afford to develop everything on our own. Here's one that's migrant friendly. Again, who are your members? What can you do? Where do you specialize? What do you need to do to meet them where they are? And that's the question for you. How could you specialize to meet your members' needs better? Fractional investing, another one that does. This is where people are able to buy small portions of stocks and EFTs instead of having to buy the big stock. And they're growing and they're learning how to do things. Stash is an example of that. Do you have something like that? What are you doing for your starter members? Okay, those new members. And again, those new members are usually younger members, which are the ones we're desiring to be investing with and involved with for the future. Peer-to-peer lending. This one should come near to dear to all of our hearts because that's really kind of how we started as credit unions, right? So peer-to-peer lending is when people are putting all their money together and then lending it out to each other. Same concept as credit unions have always been. But peer-to-peer lending apps are becoming more and more popular. If we got our story out better, they'd understand that's what we do to start with, right? So how can we get that message about people helping people out there better so that they're not going to these apps, they're going to credit unions because they don't know who we are right now. So we've got to get the message out. Buy now, pay laters. This is kind of budget management kind of deals. Again, there are all kinds of things that we have budgeting apps that are out there. Pocket Guard's one. Credit score monitoring. I love this. This is a credit union product actually. And you'll see that when the person pulls up their online banking, they're going to get something like this. It's going to tell them what their credit score is automatically. They're not pushing a button asking for it. It's coming up saying what your credit score is. You have chances to what your credit union's name is, what the member's name is. You're going to personalize there. You're going to have that credit union name there again. And then you're going to give them offers. You're going to pre-qual them for all kinds of offers. And they're going to see them right when they open their online banking. Okay. And there are offers that are specific for that individual. It's not that they're doing a campaign on this. Here's your offer. Here's the rate we're offering you. And the rate that they're offering you might be different from some others. Okay. So you have that ability to personalize all of this. And that's a vendor that's out there in credit union land. This is from a credit union. Okay. Then what are your budgeting tools and educational platforms? all of these things are out there. How do you convert your budgeting tools to today's market? How do you get them out there so that you're not making your members search for them? You're kind of making it an integrated portion of what you're doing all the time. Same with financial wellness programs. Okay. How do you increase those touch points to advise and counsel your members? Lots and lots of things, hopefully I might have given you some things to think about with your membership. The biggies are that you need to think about who your membership is, what are their special needs, and how can you meet those needs. Start there. Don't start with what products you have and then try to fit those. Start with their needs and figure out what you can do to meet their needs. Some of the products you might already have and your product design is already fine. Now we need to figure out how we then personalize the service experience for them to make it easy for them and make them knowledgeable about those products and services that are specific to them as individuals. That personalization then comes to, we're going to tell you, aim to you, market to you as an individual as opposed to a group. Your biggest challenges can be highly costly if you're developing a completely new product or you need a new tool. Okay. Time constraints. If you're developing something, sometimes it can take so long that by the time you get it developed, it's no longer new and exciting. Okay. So that's that speed and market. Legacy infrastructure is one of the biggest hindrances that I see in credit unions. And that's that we have this technology that is behind the times. Okay, so we're leading our technology to be able to get it to give us the information, to give us the algorithms that we need to be able to segment and market to these individuals using those data sets that we already have. We have strict data and privacy regulations. So we have to get our members always to give us the information. And a lot of times we have to get them to opt in to those processes of giving that information and letting us use it. We need to have access to third-party data a lot of times. So in addition to all that data that we already have, we might need to purchase lists. We might need to purchase amended data to give us information for, let's say, auto sales in the area. Now we'll know which of our members have actually purchased autos recently, okay, or have been looking at autos recently. That might give us that kind of information. So we want to have that access to third-party data, but we need to have it within our privacy borders, etc. So that can be an issue. The data silos, particularly in-house, when we have data here, data in this department, that department, the other, and we haven't been able to combine it all so that we have it all in one place so that we can use it properly. And there's market research. If we're going to conduct that market research, again, I love focus groups. I think you can learn a ton in focus groups, and they're usually not that expensive to do. And lastly, but not leastly, there's always the laws, rules, and regulations. And the one piece of legislation I want you to keep an eye on at this particular time is the Algorithmic Accountability Act. And it has been brought forth a couple of times. It's going to require us to do a lot more when we start talking about AI and using automated decisioning systems and algorithms, etc. So we need to keep an eye on that and know what we're doing, particularly when we start talking about AI and more of the systems that we're talking about when we're talking about amalgamating all this information and using algorithms to make predictions. We're talking about AI. Okay, so we want to keep our eye on that. A status is that this act was introduced in the House in 2019 and 22. It did not pass. Okay. It was reintroduced for a third time in 23, and it's been referred to a committee. Okay. So it's out there. It hasn't happened yet, but it's something to keep an eye on for the future, especially as you're making purchases or you're looking to make purchases of any of the products and services in the AI realm. A lot of information, short period of time. I wanted to see if anybody had any questions at this point. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you good luck and happy days just exploring your membership and seeing what it is that is unique about them, what unique things are they looking for in kind of each and every one of your products and services, from your auto loans to making them more designed around a payment to your any other loans that you have, your auto, your any kind of your lending for your, again, your either new members or young members or members who are trying to change their their credit history, if you will, and improve it over time. But to look at all those things that they're looking for and be able to personalize that experience more, so that you're not just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, but using your marketing dollars much more wisely, and making the experience much better for your members in the meantime as well.
I actually have a couple of things today, and I'd love, one is a question. One is something I picked up on during this is your in personalization. I think it was during the machine learning aspect. You mentioned about personalizing things to the members as follow-ups, like when they got an auto loan with you, and you're following up with the this how to take care of your car, your oil change. And I think it's a great idea of not only just providing information to your members, but you're building that relationship with the member.
Mhm.
That personalization, I think, can really just go really far. So thank you for bringing that up. I really like that. My question is, every day members are getting inundated with emails left and right
Right.
from people, and you're getting emails. And I'm just going to use emails as an example here, but I know personally, I get things constantly from people who find me on LinkedIn, and they say, I know you're in tech. They always
Right.
personalize with my name, and they personalize it with my where I work or my job title and some of my experience. How do you reach the member past that clutter? Is there a way?
It's hard because there are so many people that now do, yeah, your name. It's really easy to stick your name in things and people, oh, that's fine. So people are kind of getting used to that, so that they're able to kind of blow through that pretty quickly. The more you can target to their need, as I said, in that particular place, you're talking about they've just gotten a car. Now you're talking about things they might be thinking about with that car. You're going to tie it into something you know about them. So it's not just using their name, it's giving them information they can use at that particular point in time. Maybe they've gotten a new home. Maybe you're sending them a coupon for their first house cleaning, or you're linking them up to a member you have who is a house cleaner, or somebody about landscaping. Here's a landscaping information, but you're giving them information kind of based on something you know about them at that particular time, instead of, a lot of places do what you're talking about with LinkedIn. They do that blanket thing, they just stuck your name on it, but it's not really specific to you. It's just got your name on it. I would highly avoid doing things like that, but making it tied into some product or service they have, or that they've just gotten, or that they have with you, that you can help them to use better.
Great. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Does anybody else have any questions for Diane today? Hearing nothing. I want to say, I don't want to keep people here too much longer, but thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I do want to send out a reminder that we will be having an in-person marketing workshop on October 1st here at the League from 9 to 2:30. This is the rescheduled one that we had to cancel because of weather back in April. We'll have 3 speakers that day. Janika Pouliot, who will be discussing, she's from Page One Solutions, and she'll be discussing local SEO and how to boost your local visibility. Followed by a nationally recognized speaker, Nancy Harhut, who will dive into a little of the marketing psychology as we discover how the whole brain science and how it drives member behavior, and why members do what they do and why they make decisions they do. And then after lunch, we'll have Rich Brooks back. He's joined us a few other times in the past, but this time he's going to be bringing his presentation about how to use AI tools, such like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and he's actually going to do a hands-on, rather than just talking to you about what these products are, what these tools are. He's actually going to dive into it and actually help show us how to use some of these programs. He did recommend that if you don't already have a subscription to ChatGPT, to bring your computer, bring your laptop. I think iPad will work, tablet will work, but have a subscription to ChatGPT. It's a monthly subscription. You can do it for 1 month and cancel, but there's a lot of tools that he'll be going over that is only available in that purchase subscription. If you don't want to do it, you can't do it. That's fine too. Some of the stuff, he will be covering the free stuff as well. But it's just a recommendation at his end. The cost of the workshop is $100 per person. Registration is currently open right now, and I sent the email out to everyone, I think it was last week, and it's also available on the events calendar on the league's website. I'll send a reminder email out probably in the next couple of weeks, just before the event. So with that being said, I hope everyone got a lot of great information today. As always, thank you so much, Diane. You're phenomenal. And I hope we see everyone in person in October.